I want to express gratitude to everyone involved in making this a reality. It's been a long haul for everyone involved. It's really, really hopeful, and it's not negative, and it's not angry, and it's not reactive. It's just love. It's a celebration of love and positivity and inclusiveness, and people shouldn't be afraid of that.
Okay. So one of my questions actually that I had planned was, do you consider the Pride events to be a celebration or a protest?
Well, its history is a protest. 2019 is the 50th anniversary of the Stonewall riots in New York, which is credited as being kind of the start of the gay rights movement. There were pioneers before that, and there's certainly pioneers going forward. But knowing that, it became a party somewhere along the line when it was legalized between consenting adults in Canada in 1969. You get a kind of middle class, laissez-faire, life's pretty good, you've got a good job, you're not being evicted from your housing, you're rising in your company, and you forget how quickly those rights are taken away. So I was one of the 317 arrested in 1981 in the Toronto bathhouse raids, and the response to that was certainly political and angry. And so it goes back and forth. I think Pride has that wonderful ability to celebrate and be a great party that everyone is welcome to. And other years, it's a protest against accepting that we're all great, everything's fine, everybody's being treated equally, because we know truthfully they're not, and that oppression is, if anything, on the rise as the right seems to be empowered. I should say alt-right, not the right. Alt-right, the neo-Nazis, the anti-Semites, the misogynists, the racists, the people who, like the dinosaurs, didn't see the Ice Age coming. So women getting the right to vote is not that new a phenomena. Interracial marriage in the United States is still a highly controversial image if it comes to running advertising south of a certain state.
It's very true. I want to ask you one more question because it looks like people are gathering. I want to know, Joey, this one's for the kids, by the way.
Yeah.
If you had one thing to say to your younger self or the kids today, what would you say?
That there's a future. You got to believe there's a future.
Okay. Well, we really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us.
Absolute
and we
pleasure.
hope you have an amazing weekend. We know that there was the bonfire last night, and there's another bonfire tonight in celebration of the Arlington as well.
That was last night, and then actually it's over. Since Thursday, it's been this weekend of celebration, and I think one of the highlights was the queers reading at the library, where a number of people chose works that had inspired them.
Okay, and that I think Ken was reading, and Roy was reading, and Sean Lee Popham were reading, so we really are grateful to them too, as well, for using their voices. So thank you very much again.
Pleasure. Thank you both.
Okay.
Really enjoyed the comedy workshop together.
Awesome.
By the way.
Yeah, let's do another one.
Awesome. Awesome. I still think of that. All right, I gotta take my empty wagon.
Thank you so much for doing that. Thank you. Okay. Okay, hi everybody. So we're at the beginning of the Maynooth Pride Parade. We're up at Loggers Field, and I'm here with Gail, and we're just kind of asking people just a very few questions about Pride. Gail, yes. This is an awesome day. Everybody's having a lot of fun. But I wanted to know, in your opinion, are the Pride events a celebration, or are they a protest, or are they a bit of both?
I think they're both. I mean, we're celebrating who we are and being here in the world and all of that, despite the fact many people don't want us here. Plus, it's a protest. It's like we're not going away. We are here. Your children are here. Your grandparents are here. All of us are queer in some way.
Okay, and I noticed your Stonewall shirt, and I know that 2019 is the anniversary of those events.
The 50th anniversary.
Did you want to speak to that a little bit?
I think it's a very important thing to mark, and I also can't believe how long it's been, and we still have to struggle.
For the people who don't know what happened, can you give us just a brief synopsis of what happened that day?
There's this bar called Stonewall in New York City, and frequented by a lot of drag queens and that kind of thing. And the police would bust them all the time and do terrible things to the folks who were hanging out there. So one night in June of '69, a whole bunch of them got together and rioted and said, "This is enough. Enough is enough."
Okay, we really appreciate that. One last thing, we talked a little bit earlier about the Rainbow Crosswalk in Bancroft, and can you say a little word about that?
I almost ran my car off the road. I couldn't believe it. In downtown Bancroft, here's a rainbow crosswalk, and I thought, terrific. I don't know who did it, but thank you, thank you.
Actually, it was started by the Youth Advisory Board in Bancroft, so it was started by the kids there.
Good for them.
Yeah, good for them.
Good for them, and I see a number of kids here, which is great.
Yeah. One, I'm going to sneak another one in there.
Okay.
My last question is, if you could say something to yourself at, say, the age of 15 or 16, what would that be?
Oh, God. Hang in there. It will get better. You will be recognized, at least by some people in this world. And it is okay to love a woman.
Thank you. We really appreciate that, Gail. And we hope you have a great day.
Thank you.
Okay, take care.
Sheila is the other Marshall.
We just finished the awesome Pride Parade, and I'm standing here with some of the Pride participants. This is Vlad and Alice, and I just have a couple questions for you guys. First question I have is, do you consider the Pride events to be a celebration or a protest?
Well, I think it's definitely a celebration. It's a celebration of diversity, but it's also, you know, it symbolizes, oh, how do I say this? The presence of the community in whatever community it's going on in, and that's why I really believe in you know, having Pride events in small communities, because it really helps things along.
Perfect. Did you have anything you wanted to express about that, Alice?
That's about everything.
That's everything? Okay. So the next question is, what's your favorite part of the Pride celebrations?
The march is my favorite. Going around with everybody showing our pride, it's the best part.
Awesome. Okay, and what do you guys think about the Rainbow Crosswalk in Bancroft?
I think it was awesome. I just wish I was there when it was being painted.
It's really good, and I think it's really good for the young people of the community to know that the community supports them, and there's like a physical image of that showing by the town to their commitment.
And I think the hope is to eventually have more crosswalks and also a staircase. So you haven't missed your opportunity.
Yeah.
Nice.
Next question I have is, let's go to the last one here.
Is your mic on?
If you could say something to your younger self, looking back, what is something you would say to give yourself some hope into the future?
It's a loaded question, but okay. I guess the one thing I would say is you'll be fine. Not to worry as much. Just things will come together. You know, more people will be open about that sort of thing.
The right people are there, you just may not have met them yet.
Yeah.
I'd tell my younger self to have pride in who you are.
Thank you so much, both of you, and I hope you have a great rest of your afternoon.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Maloney's really good. I'm gonna eat that one. Oh my god, I have chocolate all over this.
Oh, look at that. And then back up.
Thank you. And the mushroom hat. Don't forget the
And
mushroom
down.
Wobbling very well. Here, wait, let me put my glasses on. You like this shirt too, because the shirt's pretty dope.
Alright, then, thank you.
There you go. So here we are at the Pride events for Maynooth. The parade's just ended, and we are here with Roy and have a couple questions that we wanted to ask. First of all, I'm going to start off with, do you consider the Pride events to be a celebration or a protest?
It's both. It's totally both, and it's an amazing way to protest because it's so full of joy. Like today, it's just like show the people that are afraid of you, that hate you, that don't want you to win. Show them how much happy you can be and how you can organize and how you can work together. And it's a protest. It always has been. It came out of a protest. It was transgendered, people of color, people that were like discriminated against back then that threw the first brick at Stonewall. So this is a history and this is protest. No matter what we do, because we're different from the norm, whatever you want to call normal, whatever we do is pushing on that bubble, saying open it up, make it bigger, accept those people, let the people that are different understand we're here and we're here for them.
Thank you. I love that. I love that response. Okay, next question. What is your favorite part of the celebrations?
Oh, I can't say, because it's like, you know, like it's like you go to a dinner and the dinner has the appetizer and the dinner has the main entree and the dinner has a little bit of conversation. It has this weekend has been so good for this community because it was a very hard month. We fought a hard battle to get a rainbow flag up, and whether you're for the rainbow flag or not, that was symbolic, and that we couldn't move that. Everything we had, every queer moment we had this weekend was like nourishment. And I won't say which was better because everything is amazing.
Okay, thank you again. You always have such amazing, perfect responses. Like, I couldn't really ask for anything more perfect.
Cut that out, though.
Yeah, sorry, it's true, though. Okay, so what do you think about the Rainbow Crosswalk in Bancroft?
I think it's beautiful. I think it's like the production of how it came about with the youth and the presentation to council and the way that council, some of the council were super supportive and enough of the council were supportive to make it happen. Exactly. So that was like an amazing thing for Bancroft, and Bancroft should be very proud of itself. And people are taking their friends to the crosswalk to just walk across it and take photos. Like it has become, it's now a new place in Bancroft for politics, for socializing, for celebration. Something's been created in Bancroft that wasn't there before, and it's very exciting.
I agree, actually, and I was saying, because I saw your video on, when your friends come to Bancroft, bring them there. And actually, I think that's what we're going to go and do after, is we're going to go straight there and hopefully get some more interviews.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. Do you have anything you want LGBTQ allies to know, or how to be a better ally?
That's a good question, and I think we could do Ally 101. I think the best thing to do is stop telling us what to do, right? To listen, to pay attention, to ask us what we want them to do. And when you're going through something like this, one of the biggest pains for me was having to listen to people tell me what to do without me asking for advice, without asking for what, and maybe they're good ideas, but when you're kicked in the gut, you don't need to be told that maybe tie your shoes tighter. It just is not connected, and so for me, allies would do really well, and they are great allies. Like, don't get me wrong, but there's allies that will tell you what you should do or what they think, or they tell you their problems, and I think we have to be a little bit more empathetic to what an activist is going through when they're fighting, and how to nourish them, not how to, like, what does help mean for those people, and we have to learn that.
I have to say that when I was coming up with these questions, I channeled you for that question, so thank you.
Okay, great. And I wanted to channel you because what you said about not for us, but by us, but with us, I always forget it, but that's probably the best thing to say.
Yeah, it was nothing about us without us is for us.
Okay, exactly.
There you go. Okay, so the next question is, okay, this one's for the kids, everybody. Looking back, what advice would you give your younger self?
To go keto earlier, and not to be afraid of anything. Because I think when you're afraid, you stop and you're immobilized. And maybe you're going to be afraid of things, but look for people that will tell you not to be afraid, and look for support. I would have looked for more support, and I think I wouldn't have been as afraid as I don't think I was so afraid, but the moments that I was afraid, I would have wanted to tell myself, don't be afraid, because today, look what happened, right? I think it's all part of my life, so this is part of it, right? So yeah.
Okay, we really appreciate that. I think that's all the questions we have.
Okay.
But, I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. We're going to go to the crosswalk right now.
Okay.
And see what we can, get there.
And can I just say that if people are watching this and they're from small towns and they feel like, oh my God, there's only 3 or 4 of us or 5 of us, that's okay. That's the start, right? And have dinner together and invite people in. And Pride doesn't have to be huge, right? Pride could be a dinner. Pride could be a bonfire. Pride could be, and it doesn't need tons of organization. It doesn't need a lot of, people worked hard for this, but I think you're going to find that if it's a project of love, you're going to see this happen, right? And so don't be afraid to just do something, right? And demand your rights, demand the flag go up, and see what happens. And it will rupture, it will destroy, it will do some awful things, but the inside of that is people will grow. And I think there's been tremendous growth.
I agree with you, and I think this community is going through a lot of change right now, a lot of change in many ways, and I think a lot of good things are coming out of this disruption, for creating homes and, helping people with addiction and all that kind of thing. I think we're seeing a lot more happening at this point in time, so I think, and this is all a part of it.
We're opening our
creating
eyes,
that
right?
change.
We're opening our eyes. We can't pretend status quo is great. Because it hasn't been. It's damaged too many people. So we can actually say, let's challenge it now, because we see we have support. We see we have allies. We see we have a strong queer community. So yes, so I think my advice would be, don't be afraid, and change is going to come, and help it happen.
Thank you so much, Roy.
Okay.
Have a great night.
You too. Happy Pride.
Happy Pride.
Thanks, Matt.